Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is a podcast host too, and one of his advocacy creating art that listens as much as it speaks, serving as a playwright, actor, director, and podcaster, no other than Mr. Franky Corcoran.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Welcome on Book 101 Review, Mr. Franky. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Well, first off, thanks for that great introduction, Daniel. I'm a playwright, actor, theater director, podcaster. I host the weekly podcast, The Corcoran Entertainment Show. It is available on all podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple, you name it, it's all on there. And basically, I started it when I first started Corcoran Entertainment, which is my own theatrical pursuit of mine, writing and directing and producing plays and stuff. With the pandemic and everything, it was really, really difficult to do plays because it was all these restrictions and stuff like that. So I ended up starting a podcast just as a way to keep the name alive and to keep Corcoran Entertainment still, in people's mindsets and everything, and in their peripheral visions. And so then I ended up just falling in love with podcasting. And as you know, you have been doing this for quite a while now too. You meet so many amazing people. It's great for networking. It's great for just about everything. And it's helped me in a lot of different ways. Really has become a flagship for Corcoran Entertainment, whereas before it was simply a theater company. Now it's, people see it and go, oh, that's the podcast. So it's a lot of fun. And of course, I've been doing theater for, probably a good chunk of my life. Not just writing and directing and occasionally acting in my own, but I act in a lot of community theater plays and stuff. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. It keeps me out of trouble, which that's the main thing, right? Staying out of trouble.
Yes, definitely. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Franky. Thank you so much. And today let's talk about how art supports mental health. Can you tell us about this topic of ours?
Yes, of course. Because it's actually helped me in a multitude of ways. Like writing, acting. We all have our outlets to cope with whatever stresses is going on in our lives, albeit work stress, family related. It really doesn't matter. Stress comes in all different ways. Mental health affects people in all kinds of different ways, and finding that it doesn't even necessarily have to be art. It can just be anything at all. I know people who are really big into sports. They're really big into you name it. It could be just about anything. As I said, it doesn't have to be necessarily arts related, but just something that it's a creative outlet, or it's some sort of outlet for you to, you're not just focusing on all the stress and the anxiety that you're dealing with in your regular life, albeit your job, you have family issues, whatever the case may be. And so I think it's truly art, for me anyway, has been so crucial to I battle anxiety to myself, like a lot of people, and writing and doing all that stuff like that, and acting. It's really just my way of not just doing what I love to do and to help myself mentally, but also to help others as well too. People who see you perform and stuff like that, and they go, "Oh my god, like that was so much fun," and I love to be involved in some way, shape, or form. Inspire people. That also helps you mentally to know that you're making a difference in people. So that for me, I would say, is how art helps mentally.
Helps mental indeed. And Mr. Frankie, psychiatrist Dr. Frank Clark told the MAA the art activities, whether music, writing, or coloring, can improve concentration and self esteem and actually reduce stress. Nothing that studies show stress hormone cortisol levels fall when people engage in the arts. From your experience, how does creating or appreciating art change the body's stress response?
Um, it's funny. I even said this, or somebody said this before. I can't remember who. Someone I know personally. They had said, "Imagine a world without music. Imagine turning on the radio and there's nothing on. Imagine you're gonna do chores around the house and there's nothing. Imagine going to a concert. Hell." Concerts wouldn't even be a thing if there was no such thing as music. People just be dancing around, jumping around at nothing. So it's really one of those things that you look at and you go, is the world like you really kind of have to like bullet point it and go, how is this important for our society? How important is art? Even like movie theaters, we all kind of really learned this during the pandemic when everything was shut down and we couldn't do anything. But it's one of those things, you want to go to a movie theater. Well, you can't go to the theater now because we're all locked up. They're all closed. Everybody has to stay home. You got to Netflix, Netflix, and that's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
And so I really kind of try to instill that in people uh oh yeah, my dog's barking. See, he agrees with me. um
Yes.
it's really one of those things of like, try to get people to see your perspective and to really see, like, okay, in a world without music, is that possible? Think about how even maybe like beer, maybe not necessarily art, but like beer. We're talking about you want to go to a bar and there's no alcohol, you know? And it's like, these are like, for some people, this is just how they de-stress. This is how they decompress after a long week and everything. And so then not having it there, where's your outlet? How do you manage?
Yes. And Dr. Clark compares art engagement to exercise, saying just a few minutes a day of writing, singing, dancing, or listening to music can be therapeutic for mind and body. Do you think we should treat activity like daily exercise for our mental health? And how might people important or incorporate these short creative workouts into their busy lives?
It's really important, setting aside, like, it's one of those things. If you own a house, you got to set time during the week. I know you're busy, I know you're working and all that stuff like that, and you got family, but you got to take at least an hour of your day or hour of your week, clean the
Yes.
house, do all that stuff, and treat that like music, or treat that like writing. I've got a week to you set aside a day in a week to dedicate solely to writing. You're like, okay, I'm caught up on everything, cleaning, blah 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 blah. Maybe you have kids, your kids are off at school or daycare, whatever the case may be, or if they don't go to daycare, somebody has them for the day. You're like, okay, this is my time to really sit down and get this job done. Like, plan out your week so that you're almost treat it like you're self-employed. say you're a
Mm.
carpenter or you're a plumber, you're a you do nails. Why can't think of it? Esthetician. I was gonna say I couldn't remember what you call that. Um, and you're booking clients or podcasting, like
Yes.
you would understand this. You're podcasting, you schedule, you have it all in your schedule. Okay, this person here is on this day at this time. Work out your writing routines and your creating time like that. Okay, this day here, I'm gonna focus. From 8 o'clock to 12, I'm just gonna write. Or 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock for only 2 hours. Like map it all out. Obviously, things happen in life, and sometimes things don't always work out the way you're supposed to. You might have a plan set in mind, and it doesn't work out the way you wanted. But you also kind of got to adjust to, like, okay, I was sick or something happened this day. I couldn't do it. Let's push that aside and let's do this on a different day. So just really making sure that you've got all your ducks in a row and that you're also prepared in the event that something happens. It's one of those things you don't want to happen. Like, it's like I always say, nobody ever wants to go to the doctor, but sometimes you have to. Sometimes it just happens and there's nothing you can do about it. So, and the same deal with scheduling and stuff. Sometimes things happen, people can't do it, you get sick, and you just got to roll with it and reschedule it. Do the best you can to, accommodate.
Mr. Frankie, research in neuroaesthetics found that looking at the favorite artworks increased blood flow in the participants' brains by about 10%, similar to looking at a loved one, activating pleasure centers like to dopamine. What do you make of this physical effect, and how could understanding the brain's response to art inform mental health treatments?
Um, Treat it like medication. You know what I mean? Treat it.
Mm,
It really kind of is like medication.
true.
Uh, because I mean, like, you have a sore knee or sore back, pop a pill. It might not be cured, but you're able to manage it. And the same deal goes with art. It's like, okay, you, whatever you're going through, art isn't going to just cure it. It's not like, okay, I have this play that I'm going to do. I love doing plays. After this, everything's going to be fine. But no, it's like, sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you have to, really just keep it going, I guess. Like, you really just got to keep it going, because the longer, if you sit around for a long period of time, not really a good thing.
Yes.
Like you gotta be able to keep yourself busy, keep yourself motivated. I even get that on days where it's a quiet day. I got nothing going on. I don't have a pod, like nothing's going on, and I will sit down and just relax for a day. And then there's sometimes near the end of the day, I'm like, wow, I did absolutely nothing today. And so if you do that for your whole life, or like you just make that your life of just, I'm just going to live like this. Well, I got lots done today. I walked from my bedroom to the bathroom. And then I walked from the bedroom to the kitchen. Okay, that's a good goal, I guess, but it's kind of sad. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to make a difference in your life. Do
Yes.
things that really make a difference. And, just it could even be something as simple as just picking clothes up off the floor, and then, oh, okay, this is clean now. Okay, and now tomorrow I'm going to focus on this and I'm going to focus on that. So setting goals, keeping yourself busy, also pace yourself. If you're somebody who wants to get into better shape, exercise, set aside times for exercising and things like that. You'll notice the difference, but just know, like, it might not come exactly as fast as you wanted, as quick as you wanted, but that's just how it goes sometimes. You just got to keep on going with it until it pays off.
Definitely. And Mr. Frankie, as a podcast host, actor, director, player, playwright, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Oh man, you're really making me think about life. You
For
know,
sure.
it's kind of funny. Yeah, like if you had asked me 5 years ago, pre-COVID, this is where I'd be. You and I would be doing this. I'd be doing a podcast every week. I'd be like, okay, I've heard crazier things. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
yes.
that's how I feel. I've heard crazier things. Um, but it's good to have in terms of long-term goals. I mean, it's kind of I mean, right now I guess I'm only planning short-term. I got my next play which I had written and we're going to put it on in November. And so that's a short-term goal right there for me. Get that play produced, get all that stuff going. We're in rehearsals for it now. We just started last week. And so it's kind of like, okay, now just one step at a time. Okay, we're still running through the whole play. Okay, we didn't get to that scene tonight, but we'll get to it next time. Like piece by piece, you're slowly building up to it. And so really, I guess short-term goals, I got some. Long-term goals, trickier to say. I'll say that. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing and hope for the best is what I'm going for.
Hope for the best for sure, and looking forward for more success and good luck to your goals, Mr. Frankie. And can you please give a piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Uh Pursue another path. No kidding. No kidding. Um,
There's
go
another
for it.
path.
You want to start a podcast?
Yes.
Start a podcast. Like, you want to start one. You want to write a play. Just get the right people in your corner. Go into it with the mindset of, I'm not doing this for fame. I'm doing this because I love it. And if
Yes.
good things come my way, very best.
Right.
That's probably the best piece of advice I'd say is to, like, don't get too big for your britches, I guess you could say. Don't go in, you have, let's say, like 3 episodes of a podcast, and you go, yeah, look at me, I look out, Joe Rogan, I'm coming. No, that's not how it works, buddy. So just know what you're getting. Get into it for the right reasons. If you're going into it for fame and you're going into it to be like Joe Rogan, I can save you a lot of time and just say, don't bother.
Don't bother. Yes, and thank you for that advice, brother. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Well, I'm going to. So this is a book, but it's also technically a play. This is Brighton Beach Memoirs by Neil Simon. Probably the best playwright, my favorite playwright personally, someone who's inspired me in a lot of ways. Brighton Beach Memoirs, basically it follows Eugene Morris Jerome and his family during the Great Depression. He's going through going through puberty. He's dealing with a lot of family issues, and he's an aspiring writer as well too. So Brighton Beach Memoirs, they're in Brighton Beach, and he writes down everything that goes on in his life in his memoirs, which is where the title comes from. We first performed this play in August 2018, and there's actually 2 more of these here. There's a sequel, Biloxi Blues, which we also staged here in Miramichi back in 2020, like literally a month before the shutdown. We staged this in 2020. And there's also a third one, which we're hoping maybe we can do soon. Hopefully soon. I'm really looking forward to it. And so that right there for me is probably one. I know it's a play. Not many people might be interested in reading it, but just go for it. It's a great read. It's hilarious at many points. It's very heartfelt. It'll make you feel lots of different emotions, and that's what I love the best about Neil Simon. It's why he's one of the all-time greats. Is his ability to perfectly balance funny with heartfelt. Like he's able to perfectly balance them both. And Brighton Beach is one of the best examples of it. The sequel, Biloxi Blues, is the same way, and Broadway Bound, which is the third one. Definitely recommend it. Highly, highly recommend it for any of you who may not be a play person. This is technically a book. I'll just say it's a book.
Hmm.
Because I mean, hey, look, it's got pages. It's got pages, and but no, highly recommend it. And yeah, I would say that Brighton Beach Memoirs by Neil Simon. And then if you want to read the two sequels, Biloxi Blues and Broadway Bound, also by Neil Simon.
Thank you for that recommended books, Mr. Frankie. And the American Psychiatric Association notes that the art therapy is used by master level clinicians to reduce conflicts and distress, improve cognitive function and self esteem, and build emotional resilience and social skill. In what ways does working with a trained art therapist differ from simply making art on your own?
People who make art on their own, a lot of times they're not in it for the money. They're not in it to pursue it as a career. So you have people who are trained for it because this is what they're going to be making their livelihoods off of. It's kind of similar in the same regard of somebody who likes to do carpentry, not for a living. They just like to do carpentry. Let's say for example, they are a famous actor and they like to do carpentry on the side. They're not trained carpenters because this isn't what they're doing for a living. This is just, I like to do carpentry in my spare time. They straight up say, I'm no perfectionist. This isn't what I do for a job. um and so yeah, like I didn't go to carpentry school, nothing like that. This is just me doing what I love to do and keeping busy. So that is the big difference between trained and non-trained. Like if you're going into it not looking to make a living off it, you're not looking,
Yes.
you don't care if somebody sees your the the drywall you just put up and go, that looks terrible or that looks amazing. Like you don't care what people say. You're like, okay, I did it. If you're doing this for a living, okay, I need to do better because this is my livelihood. This is how I make a living and things like that, and reputation, all that good stuff. So that is the key difference right there, and it applies to art too. People like to act, but they don't want to do it professionally. Um, so it really depends on where you fall on it. If you want to do it for a living or just for fun, you kind of got to pick which one you're going to do it as, or just go into it of, I'm just going to do it, and if someone just writes me a check for $200 for this thing, I'll just go, okay, take it. But it's not one of those things where your full-time occupation, you're not going to say, I'm an actor. It's just, this is
Mm.
just a hobby.
Yes, definitely. If you have the passion of doing something, people, please share to the world. And Mr. Frankie, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast, Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in the third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Frankie, whether through professional therapy or personal hobbies, what practical tips would you offer for integrating art into daily routines to maintain or enhance mental health?
For mental health, I think it kind of goes back to what I said at the start, which was, or not at the start, but just get it into it for the right reasons. You're in it to improve your mental health. You're in it to just keep busy. You're in it to do it because you love it. Um, really just make sure that you know what you're getting into. I guess you could say, just make sure that you're in it for the right reasons. Because if you go into it for the wrong reasons and it goes bad, that doesn't go very well. So
Mm.
just make sure. That's probably the big piece of advice I would say in that regard.
Definitely, Mr. Franky Corcoran. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your projects, or, of course, your podcast itself?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Corcoran Entertainment, and the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to them. The Corcoran Entertainment Show, and you can find all new episodes Tuesdays, and we also have the occasional bonus episode on Thursdays as well too. So, thank you again, Daniel, for having me on. Thank you to the live studio audience. We're filming this before a live studio audience. For those of you guys who
Yes.
weren't able to tell. Uh, this is a great crowd. We're gonna sign autographs afterwards. I can't
Yes.
wait. But thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for the crowds. Yes, people, let's support Mr. Franky Corcoran, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering episodes for the podcast itself, more and more empowering advocacy to come. So, Mr. Franky, thank you so much for your time.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.